trust me. I just feel like it's a really difficult journey. Why am I actually doing this? Hello everyone. So, as some of you may know, I've been doing a calorie deficit now for 4 weeks, and I have basically come up with 5 of my top tips on how to maintain your calorie deficit, because I feel like this is something that is actually really tricky. So I'm going to be brutally honest in this video today. Some of you may not like what you hear, but it is the truth, okay? So what is a calorie deficit, first of all? A calorie deficit is when you are consuming less calories than you are burning throughout the day, which ultimately means that you lose weight. Just a little disclaimer before we begin this video, I will be talking about calories and weight loss. If this is something that triggers you, then please do not watch the video, as your mental health is way more important than your weight. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm just going to explain my current journey that I've been on. I've been training for 5 years now. I have tried every single different diet out there, whether it's intermittent fasting or keto or intuitive eating. I have done it all. I'm obviously now vegan, so that is a different diet in itself. And I've come up with these 5 top tips, and I really want to share them because I just feel like it's a really difficult journey, but with these top tips, it 100% gets easier. So if you want to know how I went from this to this, then stick around. The last top tip at the end is the best. Okay, so number 1, find out your why. This is the most important thing that you're going to do. Let's just stop for a second. Before you even consider thinking about how many calories you need to be consuming, just think to yourself, why am I actually doing this? If your reason is to look skinny, then this video really isn't for you. Because honestly, when you go out and enjoy a meal with friends, or when you have those days where you're craving loads of sugar, you're going to cave in because your purpose is not deep enough. Really, you should be thinking of a purpose that is deeper than aesthetics. So for example, if you simply just do not feel well in yourself, you do not feel healthy in yourself, and you want to make a difference and change that. I'm just being honest here, okay? It might be brutal, but it's the truth. So my personal why stems from the fact that I've just finished a 1.5-year bulk. My aim now is to do a cut and show all of the muscle that my body has created underneath. And this is so much deeper than wanting to look skinny and wanting to look fit and healthy. And that's why I've been quite successful with my cuts so far. I can guarantee if you shift your mindset to one that is a deeper level, you will definitely be sticking to your calorie deficit a lot more easier. Okay, so number 2 is figuring out your deficit calories. So this is where things get a little bit mathematical, so please bear with me. I know I'm meant to be a doctor, but honestly, I'm not actually that good at maths. So the reason I started to track my calories is because I tried intuitive eating, and I realised that personally for my body, I was still putting on weight. Even though I have a really good understanding of foods, food groups, and the calories that are within them. And this is because your brain is very, very clever. As soon as you start losing weight, it believes your body is going into starvation mode. So what it does is it increases your hunger, and it increases the absorption of calories in your gut. So this basically means that you end up putting on more weight even though you're losing weight, or you should be losing weight. And this is why I felt hungry during intuitive eating, and I was overeating essentially, but I didn't realise I was doing it. So I think calorie counting is important if you are someone who doesn't intuitively eat well. So I use a TDEE calculator, so I'll just show you what I use, and I'll put a link below for the calculator I use. So I'm just going to go through a review how I calculate it. So on this calculator, I obviously select the fact that I'm female. I'm 23, so I'll put in 23. I currently weigh 76 kilos. I am 182 centimeters tall. Yes, I'm a tall girly. And I reckon I do moderate exercise a week. Pro tip, if you are able to calculate your body fat percentage, it makes this value even more precise. I personally use my Renfro scales, which I'll put a link down below for. They basically show me a lot of measurements like my muscle mass, my subcutaneous fat, and my total body fat. It's a really useful scale to have, but if you're not willing to buy a scale and have one at home, then you can go to the gym and find scales there. They are just as good. But anyway, so let's calculate this. So for a typical person of my values, my maintenance calories would be 2,500. So just keep that in mind because it might be important later on. So then we move down and we go down to macronutrients. I personally do not track macros. The reason for this is because I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't feel like I need to take it that far. The only thing I do track is my protein, but that's obviously important for maintaining muscle and building muscle. So then I'm going to go over to my cutting calories and I'm going to see the number. So for me, it's around 2,000. If that number is really scary to you, I would advise going somewhere in the middle between your maintenance calories and your cutting calories, and I'd choose a value bang on in the middle there. For me personally, I started on 2,000 calories. I found each week I wasn't actually losing weight, I was fluctuating quite a lot, so I decided to go down to 1,900. This is just a personal value for me. Obviously everyone's different, so please take that into account. But I would definitely say go somewhere in between your maintenance and your cutting if the value really scares you, because it needs to be sustainable. Then my advice would be to re-evaluate your calories every week. So when I take my weights every week, I look to see whether I'm still dropping. If I'm not dropping, then I'm doing something wrong. Either I'm not tracking my calories well enough or my calories are not low enough, okay? But I would say take one step at a time. It's a journey. You don't need to speed it up. It takes a while to do a calorie deficit. So just take your time with it, reevaluate every week, and just make sure it's sustainable for you. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to sustain it in the long term. So how do we find the perfect balance between calories and fulfillment? I would say if you are not losing weight every week on the calories that you've chosen, then I would start dropping it by 100 calories each time and then reevaluate. But just remember, usually within the first week or two of a calorie deficit, you might actually increase weight, and this could be due to a couple things, like I said, your brain trying to make sure that you are absorbing more calories in your gut, and also water retention can happen in the first initial stages. Okay, so let's pause for a second though. Let's not take this cut too far. So this is a photo of myself during my first cut. At this time I had been in a calorie deficit for about 8 to 10 weeks. I look back at this photo and I see quite a skinny girl. I think I look quite weak. I don't actually have that much muscle mass. And the scary thing is, at the time I was really, really happy in myself. I was on sky high. I felt like I had done a really good job with my calorie deficit. I basically just really liked the way I look and how skinny I looked. But let's be honest, let's not take this too far. I think it's really important to set yourself a goal pre-cut. And then when you achieve that goal, you can stand back and you can reevaluate and you can reflect on how far you've come. And I think by doing that, you don't take the cut too far, you don't become too obsessed with calories, and you don't fall into the rabbit hole of trying to lose more and more and more weight. So I would just say, please, please, please just stand back and reflect, take progress photos, look at yourself in the mirror and think, do I actually look good now? And yeah, so just please don't take it too far like I did the first time, as obviously it can lead to mental health issues. So how should we track our calories? I personally use an app called MyFitnessPal. This is the app that's worked the best for me. I really love this app. You can add your own recipes, your own foods if you can't buy them. If you do get the premium version, then you can scan barcodes and it makes your life even more simple. It's just really easy to use. That's me using it up there. I'll put a link down below for the MyFitnessPal app. I would say if you're someone that is quite obsessed with calories, then perhaps maybe an app isn't the best thing you should do. I would advise that you instead keep a little diary and estimate the calories and things. So for example, if I had some toast for the morning, I would put down toast 100 calories, because I know on average a slice of toast is 100 calories. That way we're not going down into the further details of what does this specific slice of bread have in it calories wise, and then you don't become too obsessed. So tip number 3, be consistent in the gym. So this is really, really difficult. Like, I know guys, the first initial stages of your cut, you're going to feel weak, you're going to feel tired, and thinking about a gym session is just the last thing you want to do. But honestly, you will feel so much better in yourself if you're more consistent with the gym. I personally only do 4 gym sessions a week, so it's not too much for me. And I've also started to add some cardio onto my routines. Not a lot, so I'm not asking you to go and add 30 minutes of cardio every day onto your gym routines. I started off slowly. I've just added 2 sessions of 10-minute incline walking a week. Currently, that's still keeping me in my calorie deficit, so I've left it at that. I've not increased it, I've not decreased it. So just find what works for you and reevaluate it each week like you do with your calories, and see if you need to up your cardio slightly. So tip number 4. This is a game changer, trust me. Let's talk about protein. I'm going to be super honest about my experiences with protein. But first, I'm gonna need a cup of tea. Bear with me. That's better. So if you haven't seen my recent Insta post, then click down on the link below. I talk about protein in this post as well. But essentially, it is so common for people to instantly think of that rule of 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo. But this does actually depend on 2 different factors. The first one being that it's actually based on ideal body weight. So for me, I'm currently 76 kilos. My target for the end of my cut is 73 kilos. I would actually calculate my 1.5 grams times 73 kilos instead of my current weight, which gives me around 110 grams of protein a day. The second thing that you need to remember is that this value is actually based on if you're trying to build muscle, aka a bulk. So I would advise that during a cut, you don't need to focus on this value as greatly. I would try to maintain the value of 1.5 grams per kg of ideal body weight, but if you need to miss around 10 grams of protein around that value because you're struggling to then enjoy your food, then please do, because again, we're trying to maintain this balance between calorie and fulfillment. The reason for this is when you have cravings for cakes, crisps, chocolates, all those good things in life, you are not going to be able to have enough room for them because you'll be consuming so many protein-dense foods, and you want to be able to enjoy all of those extra things. Otherwise, you might end up binging, which is something that I used to do, and it meant that I used to go between yo-yo dieting quite a lot. So guys, I just want to briefly show you what protein supplements I use basically, and these are supplements, so these are what I use to supplement my diet. I don't use them for my only source of protein, but anyway, first of all, I always buy my vegan. They are so good. Like all of the protein I really like is speculoos. It is such a nice flavour, like it's just the best. So this is why I always buy that one. But I probably go through a little pack like this because I usually drink more of the clear protein instead. But anyway, here we have clear vegan protein. Again, my vegan. I thought I'd give lemon and lime a try, but usually I'd have about 2 of these a month, but I only bought 1 this time. And then I always supplement myself with creatine, because creatine is usually found in meat. So as a vegan, obviously I need to make sure that I'm replacing that. This one's Berry Burst, it's actually really nice, but I basically just add 1 scoop of that to my clear protein, and then I have both my protein and my creatine sorted for the day. I'll put a link below of these products so you guys can check it out. So well done guys for making it this far into the video. We're on our 5th and final tip today. So the last one is that you have to be consistent and dedicated to your calorie deficit. So no, you can't be good all week and then end up eating a lot of bad foods over the weekend and not tracking your calories. No, you can't stop doing your gym sessions halfway through your cut because you're still losing weight. As soon as you decide to tweak anything in the plan that you've currently been doing that's been going so well, your brain again, I know this go right, is going to say something's changed, we can now put weight back on. So as soon as you change anything, you're just going to put some weight back on and you'll just fall down the same issues that you've had in the past. So let's talk about cravings. This is probably the #1 reason why people stray away from their calorie deficit, is because they're craving certain foods. I handle cravings in 2 ways personally. The first way I've already mentioned, I eat more protein, and actually usually that does help to suppress appetite and suppress cravings. The second way that I deal with it is by actually listening to those cravings. So if I fancy a burger, I'll make a burger for dinner. If I fancy cake, I'll make a cake or buy a cake. What I do first is I try to see whether whatever I'm fancying, for example like a McDonald's meal, if I cannot add that into my calories sustainably, then I'll just make it at home and I'll make a healthier version. If you guys want any tips on how to make healthier alternatives for foods, my Instagram page is full of loads of different ideas. Again, the link is down below. But honestly, if your body is craving some sort of sugar or pizza or fatty foods, then try to at least incorporate it slightly into your day. Otherwise, these cravings are really going to sneak up on you and you'll end up just wanting to binge all day, which is not good. And the last thing I want to touch on, which we have spoken a little bit about earlier, is setting yourself realistic goals and expectations. This is going to help with your consistency in a calorie deficit. So if you set a good goal, for example, I'm going to do an 8-week cut and my goal is to go from 78 kilos to 73 kilos. That is realistic and achievable. If your goal, for example, is I want to lose 10 kilos in 2 or 3 weeks, it's not going to happen. You're going to end up being disappointed with yourself and it's just going to be really disheartening. So just set realistic goals, stick to them and reevaluate yourself at the end of the goals. Please try to just enjoy the cut. I know it's really difficult, but just enjoy the process and the fact that you're losing weight and you're feeling a bit better in yourself. So yeah, just enjoy it guys, because honestly it does get easier as the week goes on. I think the first 2 weeks are really difficult, but past that you're getting into the flow of things and it just becomes second nature. So just keep at it guys, and yeah, I hope it all goes well for you. But anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you later. Bye bye.